to see our faces. The last call we didn't do that. So let us on our cameras.
This I will know that.
All right, please let's on our cameras.
Don't lose again.
But I don't let you don't have to be shy about it. Yeah, please let us. We don't have much time. We have time is fast spent. So, all right, yeah, good to see our faces. Yeah, thank you very much, Miss Chingwe Lucy. We have Mike. I don't know the call. I can see Mr. Mike. I can see Julius Giwa the call. All right. Okay. So. Okay, good. All right, so my name is Adegbite Oluwaseyi. So you are welcome to another edition of Behind the Code. Okay, let us mute our mics, please. Let us mute our mics. Yeah. All right, my name is Adegbite Oluwaseyi, the CEO of Anetscom Technologies. This is another edition of Behind the Code where we call on a seasoned, let me say, tech enthusiast. Someone who has been into tech for maybe for a while now, to discuss their own journey with us and let us see what we can pick from their brain. So this is just to have a conversation around what they've been into, how far they've gone, their journey, and how. So last week at the meeting, we had this conversation with Mr. Gloria Olaifa, and the meeting was insightful. We had a lot of people on the call. So we're expecting others to join. So this is Heli. So please, if you have friends who are in the that we've seen there. Yeah. So some people when they see Adegbite Paul, you see, okay, the CEO Adegbite Oluwaseyi, maybe we are related. I don't know. I'm not sure. We are not related. We are from two different worlds. From my dad is all right. Can you again?
Hello, sir.
Hello, am I audible,
Hello,
please? Hello. Yeah, please, can you hear me? Okay, sorry about that. Okay, please. Okay, yeah, I believe you can hear me, okay? Okay. Mr. Tofumi, please, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now, sir. I think the network is just bad, but I can hear you now, sir.
Okay, good. Okay. All right, so we have Mr. Paul Adegbite. He's a seasoned, let me say, data analyst, iOS developer, and a backend engineer. So he's going to share from his wealth of knowledge, his journey so far in tech, and how he started, What are the things, the obstacles, the challenges, how has been able to navigate the terrain of, let me say, tech. So let us welcome Mr. Adibite Paul. A round of applause for him.
Hello, good evening, everyone. Can you hear me, everyone?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes,
we can hear you.
good evening. It's nice to be amongst some of the best minds in the world. My name is Adibite Paul. And yeah, again, I'm not related by blood with the CEO, but I'm related by mentorship because the CEO is my mentor and my guidance for years. So yeah, I am a machine learning engineer actually, and that encompasses, of course, a data analyst and a data scientist. But I also dabble in backend engineering and iOS development. So it's nice to be with every one of you this night, and I hope to impact some knowledge and also learn from you. Thanks.
All right, thank you, Mr. Paul. Okay, so the whole thing is the whole program is actually simple. It's just a question and answer way of conversation. I ask questions, we respond, and maybe later on people can ask questions around where they want to have a clarification on. So it's just simple. Do you get me, sir? So can we?
Yes,
are we ready,
yes.
sir?
Yes, I am. Let's go.
All right. So let us shoot. Okay. So like we asked last week. So I want you to help us to share what's got you interested in tech. How did you start? Can you tell us, okay, what inspired you to look into tech?
Okay. Well, for me, I actually started off as an hardware engineer many years ago. Yeah. This is around 2013 or so. So I started off. I've always loved to tinker with hardware, especially computer hardware, to fix things, to make sure things work, to find out what works in things, and especially when it comes to computers. So that was how I started. But I've always loved computing, both the hardware and the software part. So, and then after a couple of years, I ventured into web development as a front-end engineer. So this was also around maybe 2016, 2015. So I did it for a while, and due to some issues, I had to leave it. I got into the university, and then I think it was back in 2020, I think during COVID, I came to know what artificial intelligence was all about. And I just fell in love with it. Everything that has to do with data, right? I just loved it. I loved the way we could build something that made computer think like human beings. It just felt like a superpower to me, and I dived into that. And yeah, today I work also as a backend engineer and an iOS engineer, but I mostly work as a data scientist, machine learning engineer.
All right. Thank you for that. So from hardware engineer to becoming a software engineer, okay, that's actually good. From the hardware to software part, right? Mm-hmm. So there is this on to the next question. There is this fact that let me say beginners always have. They feel everybody else knows more than them. So there is actually no point pushing what they know to the world, since where they have more knowledgeable people in the world. So what will you say to someone that feels like everyone else already know more than them? So is there a need for them to put out something for people to see? What do you
Okay,
see
thank
to that?
Yeah, thank you, sir. Well, for one, that's just not true. It's not true that everyone else in the world knows more than or knows something that you can't know, right? And even if it were true, personally to me, I've always thought that shouldn't be what drives you in this journey. That shouldn't be an excuse for you to, decide not to go into something that, say, you are passionate about, right? So if you have passion in a particular part of tech, or you have an interest in something, you shouldn't see other people knowing it as a reason, not to, dive into it, to delve into it and understand what it is about. Right? If you really have passion for it and you really want to do it, you should do it anyway. Right? So while it might be true that a lot of people know, what you are trying to get into, or a lot of people would have more experience than you in what you are trying to get into, the truth is that everyone started from somewhere, right? And if everyone had the same mentality that, uh, people know these things and I don't need to go into it, nobody would learn and nobody would improve, nobody would learn. So to me, I don't think that, this should be, what holds you back. Once you've decided that I want to do this, I want to be a data scientist, for example, or I want to be, a mobile engineer, you shouldn't think, well, because people are doing it, I shouldn't do it. That's to me, it doesn't feel like a good enough reason not to. So yeah.
Okay, thank you very much for that. So let's talk about more. Let us shed more light. Was there any, let me say, scenario or situation where you feel it is actually that narration or that perception is actually not so true? Can you let me say practical example where maybe you find yourself in a situation where you felt I don't have much experience, but when you were given an opportunity to showcase what you have, you now discover that people now feel okay, you actually maybe you're like a boss, while you feel I don't actually know anything. Was there a situation like that where
Well, starting out, and I think this is true for most people, or even almost everyone that gets into tech, you would almost always feel like this, like, also, where do I even start from? Oh, this project that I'm about to take on, can I actually get through it? Do I even have enough experience to do this? But it always has been that once you put your mind to build something or to solve a problem, you find every means possible to do it. You go online, you make research, you gather requirements, and you go into it, you delve into it, and you will find that I actually can do this. And this is true of many of the projects that I've taken on in the past. Like, I can't even point to one where it's not like, going into it, I felt this underwhelming sense that will I be able to do this thing? Am I vast enough in this? Will I be able to solve this problem? But almost always, I always find a way to solve it anyway. I always find a way to provide the solution that I've been asked to provide. So to me, yes, you would feel like that. In almost everything you do, you would feel like that. And that's the thing with tech, is it's like, how do I put it? It's like gaming, for example, where the next stage is always harder than tougher than the former stage, right? Once you take on a particular project and you solve it, you know that any project on that stage you will almost always be able to solve it, right? And then you just keep doing that. Over time, you find out that actually I can do almost anything in this thing. I just need to, go out, do research. What are the requirements? What do I need to gather? What are the things I need to know before I can fix this problem? Before I can, write this, build this project? What are the things I need to know? And then you learn those things and you apply it. And before you know, you start feeling like, wow, I never thought I could do this, but here I am. I've been able to do it. So for me, that's just how it is. You just go into it, and then you find that I actually can do it. But of course, it would always come down to the amount of work that you've put in the past, right? So if you've not put in a significant amount of work, that's what leads to you being underwhelmed, right? Or even overwhelmed. Like you don't start being scared of particular projects. But once you solve a particular problem or you build a project, you find that you can actually take on even more. So that's how I see it.
Oh, okay, thank you very much, sir, for that. So let's go to the next question. Was there any point where you almost quit? What made you stay? Yeah, at some point you feel, okay, I think I'm not in the right path. Maybe there are so many distractions or your expectations are not met. You feel, okay, they told me I have to, within 6 months or 3 months into tech, I should be getting maybe 1 million naira monthly or something. But was there a point where you felt, okay, I'm not in the right maybe field or in the right direction? What actually, so you spent a lot of years now, so what made you stay? Why are you still in tech?
Remember earlier I said that I actually started out as a front-end engineer, and I dropped it at some point. And the reason I dropped it was at the time I wasn't seeing the kind of money that I thought I'd be seeing getting into it. And this is the issue with a lot of people. A lot of people get into tech because of money, and that's good. There's no problem with that. But the issue is when that money stops coming, then you feel some type of way that makes you feel, well, perhaps I should pivot into something else. Perhaps I should go into this. Perhaps I should go into that. And this was the same thing with me. I found that I wasn't making as much money as I thought I would be making going into this to that. Perhaps I should go into something else. And I did for a while. But then when I now fell in love with data, right, with machine learning and building models, and then I realized that while money is good and it's a great motivation in itself, it might not be able to sustain you when the going gets tough. For me, and it's different for everyone, right? For there are people that will tell you that it's money, and that's the reason I'm doing this, and I don't have any other reason. And it works for them. It is good for them. But for me, I found that even when I had issues, even when Nigeria did the way Nigeria is, and even when money wasn't coming in as I thought it would, when I went back, and that was when I went back, and I went back as a machine learning engineer. Even when money wasn't coming as much as I thought it would, I still stuck to it. I was still able to continue because this was something that I loved doing. I just loved, tinkering with data. I just loved working with it. I just loved cleaning, and I just loved everything I had to do with data. And I just found myself continuing to do this thing that wasn't really paying as much. And here I am today, and thank God. So yeah, so once you feel overwhelmed, you have to remember why you got into it in the first place. You have to remember what made you go into it in the first place. And I feel like for a lot of people it's going to be different, and it's those reasons that will keep you in it, even when even when we have issues like light and are trying to learn overnight, but there's no light, there's no data, and all these other little things that can deter you. You still have to just keep going and keep going, and you just know that someday it's all going to work out. So, yeah. Hello. Are you there, sir, Mr. Adewite? Can anyone hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, sir. I'm thinking maybe it's a network issue.
Yeah, I think it's.
Okay, all right. Sorry,
You're back.
I'm back. The network is
Yeah.
frustrating tonight. Okay, all right. So because of our time, so let's just move forward. So what's something you have achieved in your career that your younger self wouldn't? Okay, if someone told you like 5 or 6 years ago that you can have actually achieved this, you won't even believe that it's possible. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I think I got
Right.
you trailed off, but I think I got what. Well, going into that question, as trivial as it sounds now, my younger self would have been surprised that I would, be able to secure a full-time role. That always seemed, and I know for starters, right now, especially given how saturated, the tech space is, at the time, it just felt surreal. It felt like, something that was always going to be hard, something that was always going to be tough to have, or even almost practically impossible. But when that happened, I just knew that, well, thank God for this, and thank myself for the hard work that I've put in over the years. But yeah, for me, getting a full-time role at the time, not even all the projects I've worked on, not even some of the things I've built, but getting a full-time role just seemed like, especially abroad, it just seemed like something that was always going to be hard to accomplish. And that happened over time. So for me, yeah, that's it.
All right. Thank you very much. So how did you land your first role? So your first tech role. So can you share how it came?
My first tech role was something very trivial again. Wasn't even a full-time role as a machine learning engineer. My first tech role, what I would call my first tech role, was actually an academic tutor, a Python tutor. So I used to teach Python for my then Oga, and I think you would know him for his students, some of his intern students, some of his interns, IT students. I used to teach them. I used to put them through all the concepts in data science and machine learning engineering, and I got a really good pay of 10,000 naira per month. And even though that's, it's not much, but at the time, actually was happy that at least I was able to not only impact knowledge, but I was able to get something. Right. Prior to that, I would do some freelance, data science job here and there, projects, maybe final year projects for some people. But say I was getting paid per month, it was that. And then after that, I got my full-time role as an animator, right? A mathematical animator in the Web3 space. So I used to write Python scripts that create mathematical animations that explains Web3 technologies, encryption, cryptography, MD5, SHA 5122556. Some of these things actually now helped me when I transitioned into back-end engineering and JWT and the likes. And when we are talking about encryption, and I think as a back-end engineer, you would know what I'm talking about. But yeah, my full-time goal was I'm a mathematical animator, building Python scripts that create things in zero knowledge proofs and so on. So yeah.
All right.
How did I land it? Yeah, I just did normal interviews, submitted my CVs and did interviews. And yeah, and I got in and yeah.
Okay, all right. So my takeaway from that is, first thing is, okay, sometimes as let me say, as a starter, you might actually not land your first big role at the first instance. You might actually start from, let me say, something small. Yeah, my first job was 20,000 naira at Ibadan. Transport fare maybe around 18,000. So I'm left with 2,000 naira at the end of the month. But I was happy because okay, it was what I'm interested in. That is what I want. So, but subsequently, I got a better offer, and from there, we thank God. So sometimes you start small, then you grow with it. Let the passion, let it be your driving force.
In fact, let me, sorry for cutting you off, sir. Okay. I think that, in fact, going by what you just said, in fact, most people will not get the best role as their first role. For most people in tech, it's while a lot of people would, it does happen from time that you just get something really good. It just happens, but in a lot of cases, it just doesn't, because the big tech companies they want to see what you've done in the past. Who have you worked for? They need proof that you can do the job, and where you get the proof is by working at a small place where all they will pay you is going to be enough to transport you to the place, right? But subsequently, you would keep advancing, and yeah, that's really how it goes.
Hello.
Yes.
Okay, sorry, my network. All right. So let's go to we have less than, let me say, 10-15 minutes. So let's talk about the path of internship and freelancing, volunteering for people to build for portfolio. So were you involved in this kind of thing before you actually dive into mainstream tech activities?
Yeah, like I said earlier, the tutorship that I did was more or less volunteering. The stipend was just a take-home, stipend that was just always going to be enough to get me to my place of work. And for internship, yeah, it's what a lot of people do. Personally, I've always preferred the freelancing roles, right? Working for myself. But a lot of people I know and a lot of my guys, a lot of them started as interns at startups, for example, and in some cases even just at their university, at centers and so on. So yeah, it always has been a different and easy way to break through into tech, right? And why people always complain about the money is easier to break into it and advance than to be expecting a really big role and stuck, right? So and the likes of internship, they provide this pathway to entry, or pathway of entry.
All right. Thank you very much for that. So let's talk about let me say skill. Now, some people at the early stage, they jump from, they believe that, okay, the best way to get into tech is let me know this, let me know this, let me know this. Some people, it's just one, let me say one skill. So it's better to go deep on one skill at the early stage, or stay broad while figuring out what would work. So if I'm into backend, let me do from focus on one skill. Data analytics, let me focus on it and develop and grow with that. Maybe at the later part, then I can now maybe move pivots to other things. So what will be your advice as for, let me say, someone at the early stage in tech?
Yeah, for beginners, my advice has always been to stick to one thing, so as not to get overwhelmed. Right? If you keep jumping from one thing to another, you will burn out. Right? That is real in tech. You can very much burn out. You can very much get fed up, and it's why a lot of people drop out in the end, because in a lot of cases, they don't have something, right, that they are actually good at, right? They say, oh, they can do this, they can do that. And then when you ask them to solve a real problem, they really can't. And that's because they didn't take enough time to like really learn something, to really learn one thing, right? If you have, and that's what you need to, for me, I've always thought you need to, what's the word now? You need to decide what you want to do, even before going into it, right? Even before going into tech, you need to decide exactly what you want to do, or what you want to be in a few years' time. Oh, I want to be a data scientist. Oh, I want to be a data analyst. Or I want to be a cybersecurity analyst or a cybersecurity specialist, right? You need to decide that this is what I want to do and stick to it, because while in it, if you have wandering eyes, there will be many other things that you would like, right? You could be a backend engineer and then you see someone building, writing Flutter code, for example, and then you just like that and you go into it, you do that a bit, you jump back into something else. Before you know, a few years would have gone, months would have gone, and you can't really do anything. You can't do one thing that you are good at. You can't. So yeah, to me, it's always been going deep, be vertical on something. Don't be horizontal. Don't scale horizontally. Scale vertically. Right? Take one thing and delve deep into it and be good at that, especially as a beginner. And then perhaps years down the line, you can decide to pivot into something else, right? That works. But as a beginner, learning multiple things will overwhelm you and you would end up dropping out. Thanks. Hello, you seem, I think your network is acting up again.
Yeah, I think his network is really bad.
Yeah.
I'm sure he'll join us again shortly. Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah.
I think one thing that stood out for me earlier when you were talking is the fact that you said that you never imagined you would get a full-time role.
Yeah.
I think that was like 2 or 3 questions ago. And that actually shows that sometimes our mind might not be able to grasp how far we can journey, how far we can actually go or reach.
Yeah. Well, starting out, for most people, it will be like that, right? Starting out. And it's just this lingering doubts at the back of your mind that you need to put aside, right? Especially as a beginner, you would, well, am I going to even make it in this thing? Will I even be able to get a job? All those things are just doubts that you need to put aside. and say, actually, yes, I'm going to get a role. It doesn't matter how long it takes, I'm going to get a role. I just need to continue to work. I need to continue to build. And I know that in the end, I will get something. So,
Yes.
yeah.
So
Take it.
before Boss joins us again, I don't know how soon he'll be able to join us. I don't know if you can tell us about international opportunities. I'm sure some people here might be like, okay, how do I get international opportunities in tech? What are the chances of getting international opportunities? Maybe to work remote, maybe, I don't know, job abroad. I don't know if you can share with us from your weight of experience how to go about it.
Well, for me, it has always, again, been building. You need to keep pushing. You need to keep pushing to get up, right? You need to keep pushing to all these repository management systems. And you need to keep posting on, especially on LinkedIn, right? Because these are
Yes,
the
sir.
platforms where all these opportunities exist. You need to keep building and building publicly. In tech, you are going to have to do away with introversy. You need to be extrovert. You need to talk about whatever you are building, whatever system it is you are building, whatever you're building, you need to talk about it. You need to put yourself out there. It's how people will reach out to you. It's how people reached out to me in the past. And you need to let people around you know what you are doing. Because in a lot of cases, it's people around you that will refer you, for all these roles. So just put yourself out there, build in public, but ensure that you are pushing code, you are working on projects. So yeah.
Welcome back, sir.
Yeah, please, you can continue because my network is so let us yourself.
Okay. So our time is fast spent, but just a few more. So what's something about starting out that nobody told you that you had to learn the hard way? That when you look back, you feel like, oh wow.
For me, well, about it being hard, about it being as hard as it is, and about the fact that you need to be very deep in whatever it is that you choose to learn, right? If you choose to learn back-end engineering, there are a lot of things that you need to understand to move from beginner to not even veteran to just scratching the surface. There are just a lot of things that you need to understand, and those lot of things, it takes time to learn. So it's the time that you need to put into it that I wasn't really told about. Starting out, we just thought, well, I just need to learn HTML and CSS. And at the time, I don't know, the technology is not really in use anymore. We used to use jQuery then for responsiveness. So I just thought, well, if I know HTML, CSS, a little bit of JavaScript and jQuery, I'm good to go. But even as front-end engineers, the things that you need to learn is way more than that, right? Is way
Yes,
more
sir.
than it's when you get into it that you now find out that I actually need to understand the structure of data, right? I need to understand data structures and algorithm, and I need to understand each algorithm, what they are used for, when they are used, and so on. So many things that I need to understand to be able to build something that works. Like, this is one thing that never really gets said to anybody, is when you get into it that you now get that actually what we thought we're supposed to learn is way more than that. At least to be good enough to do well in it, or to earn something okay in it. There are just so many things that you need to learn. So you need to, going into it, you need to know that there's just a lot of time that I need to dedicate to this thing, right? You can spend, now, a few months back, after spending perhaps a year as a back-end engineer, was when I now realized that actually there are some things that I don't know. I have to go back and learn them. I have to go back and read books on this. I have to go back and read books on that. Right? And a lot of time this will happen to you. You will find out that for me to be able to move forward or to move to the next stage, I need to spend hours just reading books, just reading, watching tutorials and doing all this. So the time that it takes to build yourself as a technologist, as a programmer, is one thing that never really gets, said preliminary. And that's why when a lot of people get to it, they always end up dropping out because they can't just dedicate that amount of time.
Wow. Yeah, thank you very much, sir. That's so insightful. I'm very sure that people in the audience, our listeners, we have one or two questions to ask you too. But before we give them the opportunity, is there anything you are working on that you will want to share with us?
Well, I'm currently I'm building personally. I can only speak about my personal project. I'm building a multi-platform SaaS product for tutorial centers, for the management of tutorial centers. So, I don't know, I guess watch out for it. For every tutorial centers out there, JAMB, WAEC, IELTS Center, GRE, you'll be able to onboard students, have one-on-one sessions between tutors and students. There will even be a chat room where for each workspace, you can have different channels for the different subjects being taught in the workspace or in the tutorial center. So just watch out for I hope nobody steals my idea from this meeting. So just watch out.
I don't think everybody will do that, sir. Thank you so much. So shortly we'll be allowing people that are listening to ask a question, but before they do, you can share with us your LinkedIn account so that people will follow you. I know they will want to learn from your wealth of knowledge. They want to connect with you. So you can just tell us your LinkedIn account, maybe the
you can just, I guess you can just search for Adebite Paul. Adebite Paul Adekunle.
Okay, so we can actually connect with him on LinkedIn, and I think it will be really worth it. So shortly we'll be giving opportunity to a few people to ask questions. Is there anybody that is listening that wants to ask a question, that wants to ask our guest a question? Is there anybody? Do we have anybody? Okay. So I don't think there's anybody that has a question from the audience. Okay. So we should be wrapping up in a minute. So last question for you, Saf, on this end. If any of the students or the participants of the 30 days challenge finish this 30 days challenge and they want a job within 3 months, what should be the steps they take to get their first job from your experience?
Build and build. That's the only way. You need to build. You need to build something. You need to keep working. You need to keep pushing code, right? And then when you feel like you are, comfortable enough or confident enough, you need to also keep applying to jobs. That's really the only way to get jobs. You need to keep applying. But before you can apply, you need to put in the work, right? What is the work? Write code yourself. Build something worthwhile. Build something that will take your time. Build something that will make you learn. A lot of stuff, right? So that's, to me, that's really the only way. So it might be hard. It might even be deemed impossible to get, something worthwhile in 3 months. But the only way to do it, and the only way people have done it in the past, is by building, networking, and applying.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Build, build, and build. That's the word. So before we wrap up tonight, I will still allow our CEO to maybe have the last words. I think he's fully with us now.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Paul and Mr. Tofumi, for this session. It's been an insightful section and conversation around Mr. Paul's tech journey. He is a friend, and so I've known him for a while now, and he's reliable. And also, I asked him to mentor. He has done mentorship thing with some of the people I've referred to him, and he's actually someone of that has great knowledge in tech. So we can connect with him. So if you have any questions to ask, you can send him a DM on LinkedIn. And also, I believe we can also connect with him. You can see his face. You can see his handsome face. You can connect with him on Facebook. Search for him. I believe he's on. Mr. Paul, are you on Facebook or Twitter?
Which on Facebook. On Twitter, I'm not really on Twitter either, but I am on LinkedIn. So I think LinkedIn is perhaps the only place you can.
Okay, all right. So let us connect with him. And also, please, regarding this 30 days training, the 30 days challenge, we are, let me say, a week to the end of the program. Please let us try as much as possible to make use of these opportunity. You hardly find these around. Free challenge or free program for us to learn. We have seasoned instructors, and they've actually been taking us through the basic things that we need to start our career in tech. So tomorrow is another section for you. Please try as much as possible to connect with the instructor at the appointed time. They will drop that in the group chat, let's say tomorrow. So please let us try as much as possible to connect. And if we are unable because of our on-site schedule, try also to listen to the video. Definitely, we share the recorded sessions on the platform. Please try to look at the video afterwards, and also let us submit assignments. We have assignments, we also grade the assignments. So let us take time to submit the assignments as of when the results. I still get calls and all asking us to extend the submission, the time and date of submission. We can't do that. This is a structured school, and we want people to pay attention and do as expected. We can see we have a low from us tonight. Results move far better than this, but all the same, yeah, people are busy. We're trying to survive. Nigeria is not really smiling, so we understand that the situation of the country. So thank you for coming on board for this section. So we'll be expecting you in class, and also next week when we'll be having a final behind the code section. Thank you all. See you next week.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Ford, for coming on board. We really appreciate your time. It's actually not so easy. It is out of the call. So thank you. See you guys next week. Thank you, Mr. Tofumi, for your time.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You're welcome, sir.
All right, see you. Yeah.